Welcome to the Power of Love show, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation, where we shine a light on loss and grief and how it impacts our lives. We are here to provide hope, resources, and a community so no one feels alone in their grief. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Power of Love show, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation. We are here to provide hope, resources, and a community so no one feels alone in their grief. I am TJ Jackson, and with me is my eldest brother, Taj Jackson.
What's up, T?
Nothing much, Taj. We are live, of course, on Facebook and YouTube, and you may also be listening to us via your favorite podcast, because, yes, this is also a podcast for anyone who's used to watching us on YouTube and Facebook, and you are getting into podcasts or you sometimes listen to podcasts. Make sure to check out the D.D. Jackson Foundation Power of Love show. We are not licensed therapists. We are just ordinary people who've experienced loss in our lives. We've been impacted by it, and we have learned from it. And we like to share our opinions in an attempt to help you get through whatever it is you are going through. With that said, if you need professional help, we urge you all to seek it and to find it. Please, please, please do not just rely on us. Taj Jackson, how are you? How was your week, man?
Great. I have no idea what I did, but yeah, it was great.
Let's see, September 8th. Yeah, it was just a regular old week, right, Taj?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Was there like a high point or something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
I was going to say about this big movie that came out. Did you see it? What is it?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, yes, Shang-Chi. Did you see it?
Yes.
How was it?
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
We saw it yesterday, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because it's blowing everyone's expectations away. It's doing incredibly well. I haven't seen it. I truthfully didn't have much of a desire to see it. But if you're telling me it's pretty good, I may go see it.
Yeah, I think that was my first time back in the theater in a long time. But even so, we went to a place that kind of had like the food thing aspect of it, so it was kind of spread out anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
A little hesitant on that scenario, but yeah, it was good.
Cool. I'm trying to think of what happened in my week, and truthfully, not much. There's nothing that is. There's nothing popping out. So if it's okay with you, I say we go straight into our show because it's an important show.
Yes.
And yeah, if that's okay with you, Taj.
Let's go.
All right. So on today's episode of the Power of Love show, we are going to be discussing grief affirmations. We love providing resources to you guys, our community. And when we recently came across a very helpful blog called Healing Brave, which was created by author and suicide survivor Jennifer Williamson, we knew we had to share it with all of you. One of Jennifer's blog posts details the importance of affirmations and 5 grief affirmations to help us cope during our grief journeys. So let's dive in to learn more about what affirmations are, what purposes they serve, and a few examples to take with us today. Our thoughts create our reality. And when we are experiencing grief, our feelings and thoughts can exhaust us and negatively fill up our mind and heart, which is obviously not a good thing. When we become aware of these heavy or negative ideas and emotions, we have the ability to transform them. The way to transform these feelings is by fully feeling them. The way to change our thinking is to change a negative thought into a positive one. Affirmations are a helpful tool in doing this. Mm-hmm. So Taj knows what this is. I know what this is. But in case you do not, an affirmation is a declaration and positive thought to help move you toward peace and happiness. We can allow whatever feeling to just be, but we don't want to wallow in it. Mm. You didn't think I'd say the word wallow today, did you, Taj?
No, I didn't.
And in times of sadness, an affirmation can allow the mind to shift from a negative thought into a positive one. It can transform our state of mind, our state of being. It can do all of these things. Our mind is super powerful. An affirmation may be said repeatedly or just once. Some people post affirmations around them in their home to remind them of these important ideas. And as we know, the path of grief is not straight. It's not a straight paved road, people. It can take you up, down, any direction, and it can hit you whenever. If you could use some help navigating these twists and turns of this journey, take these grief affirmations and try them out. They don't deny what hurts. They honor the losses engraved in your heart, the love that runs like a river through every crack in your armor. Take what feels healing to you. Here are 5 affirmations for grief to get you started.
Okay.
You want to say something before I get to these 5? It sounded like you do.
No, I want to hear these 5. These.
You
know,
sure?
I'll have thoughts about each one in that way.
Okay. Well,
but
you know
what?
what?
TJ, real quick. Yeah. Do you do affirmations?
Do I or did I?
Do you still do them? And or did you slack off? And were they helpful for you in the past?
I do affirmations. I don't do them as religiously, as consistently as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that I usually do them before bed and right when I wake up.
Okay.
I do.
Are they more thank you affirmations in a way? Or
exactly.
Okay.
You know, and because we grew up learning about affirmations and the power of them and the importance of them in determining or helping you carve out who you are. So even an affirmation such as "I am thankful for the life I have" is an important affirmation to have, and it helps you really commit to that idea of being thankful and grateful. So those are the kind of affirmations I do. I don't do any grief-related affirmations. To be honest, I never really considered them. Not that it was a bad thing, but I also don't feel like I'm in a state of grief right now. I mean, we're always dealing with losses. And as we said, the end of last month, just a couple of weeks ago, was very difficult. But I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty happy and healthy, and I feel like I'm in a good frame of mind. So if I wasn't, though, I would definitely be all over these grief affirmations because I saw them and they're very powerful.
Nice.
But how about you, Taj? Are you doing affirmations?
I'm more of the grateful affirmations, thankful ones in that way. I just recently started up, like maybe a couple months ago. So it's been a newer journey to me. I had done them in the past and totally just not started doing them or had forgotten to do them more often. And so, but listening to the show has helped me with that way in terms of what the gratitude ones and stuff like that. But for me, the important things about affirmations in general is it's one of those things that you have to do and have faith in it, even if you don't in your head are like, I don't think this is, working or this or that. It's like the doubt, you have to get rid of the doubt, and that's what the affirmations are for. So it's kind of normal to have that doubt in the beginning. And like if you're,
Taj, I think that's a really important point to make, because usually when we are when we are doing these kind of things, it's because we're in such a bad place and our mind is already filled with so much doubt. And when I say you, this is for everyone, even all of you watching, I truly feel you have to be able to carve out that 5-10 minute period where you just commit to what you're saying and what you're feeling. You have to just commit. You can't let any seeds of negativity or doubt penetrate what you're going through. Give yourself, if you find yourself in a state of negativity or of doubt, give yourself this. Give yourself 5 to 10 minutes of just being able to be completely positive, with no doubt, with no distractions. Just commit to what your affirmations are, and it will give itself a chance to develop and redeem itself in your life. Yeah. So again, I am a believer of affirmations. I think they're an important piece of what we should be doing, especially in today's world. But again, today's show is on grief affirmations, which I've never done. So we're going to talk about 5 messages to help you heal, not just survive.
Nice.
So number 1, and of course, this is based on an article by Jennifer Williamson. We'll put that article in the description. So if you're listening to us or watching us, you will be able to access the entire article if you want. Healing Brave article, Grief Affirmations, 5 messages to help you heal, not just survive. All right. So number 1 is I heal with curiosity, presence, and hope. The road to healing is bumpy, but I am learning to be nimble. The path is winding, but I am willing to be present with every curve. It's not the easiest path to walk, but I'm learning how to walk a new way. I keep my heart open to love. I tread gently on the earth. I explore this new life of mine with curiosity and hope. I heal and grow as I go. Any feedback you have on our first grief affirmation? I heal with curiosity, presence, and hope.
No, I like it. Hope is, hope is very.
You know what I like about it, Taj? I think it's important. I think it's super, super important for those who are going through grief, those who are going through even trauma or a really negative or difficult moment in their life. I think you have to be willing to accept that there's going to be a change. There's going to be newness. Mm-hmm. It's like the butterfly going through the different stages of life. They can't live in the past. If you live in the past, I think you are setting yourself up for sadness, negativity, a harder mindset. I am not ever going to tell anyone to not remember a loved one or to think about a loved one. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to also be willing to accept what's new and where our road is taking us. And that's what I like about this one, because it talks about curiosity, presence, and hope. And that's what that means to me is your world has changed. And there's two ways to respond to that. You can either sorrow that it's changed, or you can accept that it's changed and try to grow from it. And that's what I would challenge everyone to try to take, is the latter approach and to grow from it.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
All right. Nothing else you got for me, Taj? Nothing else.
I mean, I did like the curiosity as word in there. It's kind of an interesting word for it, but you explained it pretty well, because I think you do have to be curious about this new change in that way, as opposed to rejecting it, or as opposed to fighting it in that way, because your life will never be the same again. But that also doesn't mean that that's it for you. You have to keep moving, and you have to keep they use the road analogy. It's going to be windy, but it's still going to be a road that you can follow in that way.
Marlene has a great comment. Change is coming from the inside. I love what Sue says. The long and winding road. Be gentle and grow. Yeah. And Clarice has a true reminder. It's hard to clear your mind of negative sometimes. It's very true. Sometimes your mind just says, no, right now we're going to sit here and just relive and redeal with all this difficult situation.
Yeah.
I get that. But we have to do all we can, even if it takes a day or two or three or a week or a month to reclaim it. We can't just throw in the towel.
No, exactly. Sometimes you got to find what you can do to combat that negativity, because you could be your worst enemy at times, especially if it's all in your mind in that way, where you beat yourself up, or you're in that funk because of loss or grief. That is the easiest time to let it pile on you in that way. And so I think that's where friends or a support system helps, or just, and when I say checking out, I don't mean like just to forget everything, because presence is one of the things in that affirmation. But I do think you can take a break and watch something or listen to music that will bring you to that good place again, that in that case.
And what I love, real quick before we get to the second affirmation, what I love about affirmation is it doesn't take long. It's not like a super long commitment. It just takes the right mental space and the idea of saying and feeling what you're saying. I think that's the very important message when it comes to
when you say it, like feel it in that.
Yeah, you have to. Okay, our second grief affirmation. Grief gives me wings with which I spread love. Grief takes me higher, expands my perspective, and gives me wings to make something new out of this life. I'm learning just how much brighter I can shine because I've known the darkness. I keep learning how much lighter I can be now that I'm here. I leave an imprint of love wherever I go. This is how I honor the love I still grow. I think I love this too, because I think when we deal with loss, and I get why, because I'm trying to justify the reasoning. I think it's an opportunity to refine and rekindle human basics, if that
Mhm.
makes sense, human necessities. And there's no stronger human basic and necessity than love. And if you can find a way to honor someone or honor a situation through love, I think you will grow tremendously. By, if you've lost a family member, one of the perfect example is the foundation. Doing this, we've been able to heal, I think, in a way better than if we didn't start this foundation. And the foundation came from love, from loving our mother as well as loving to help others.
Mhm.
And if you can find a source of movement with love as the motor, I really think it will help you in your grieving process.
Yeah, and I think even with all our great guests and stuff like that, a lot of the great guests that have their foundation or their work or their books have come from tragedy in that way. And I think I do, with what you had said earlier in terms of with that affirmation, I do think that, especially for me, like I was looking at things as, I mean, they weren't black or white, they're just gray. And then until mom passed, that's when I realized what black really was, what grief really was in that way, how not even dark, but just how sad I could be or how lonely I could be in that way. And then, but with that, knowing that, I also know how high I've climbed now in that way, and how
Mm.
much in terms of spreading this love and happiness and hope and all that stuff, you have a barometer, because I know where the bottom is. And now, as I better myself every day, I see the progress and I see how much higher I've, if I'll use that quote, flown,
Mm.
or that
Mm.
affirmation. Yeah.
No, it's so important, you guys, is to find love. Love is the thing that will heal us and help us, and through whatever it is we are going through. That's why we wanted to call this show The Power of Love. It truly is that powerful, and it's something that has helped me. And I'm going to assume, Taj, I just don't like putting words in people's mouth, but it's something that's helped me get through the difficult moments and situations I've had to go through, is love. So I think, and again, I'm thinking back to my pause a couple minutes ago. I just think we have to find a way to tie love into grieving, and those are things that usually don't seem, for some reason, at least in my mind, don't seem like it. It usually is the response when someone is grieving or going through. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
But
I
I
know.
think there's nothing like love. Love is the best healer. Number 3 is I am always healing and never alone. Now, this is a good one too, because it's very practical, and I think one that we need to remember.
Mhm.
Healing is a process, one I take on one step at a time. I've survived impossible things, and I'm not alone in how I feel. However, isolating my suffering pretends to be, it's a shared experience with countless other people. I walk this path, healing as I go, knowing I do not walk alone. And I know Taj likes this one.
Mhm.
Why do you like this one, Taj?
Because I think even in your loneliest times, you are really never alone. You might feel alone, and I think that's your mind telling you that you're alone. But I think that's one of the blessings, and I'm going to say this very cautiously, of social media, is you can find people that identify with you in a way that before it was only through your circle that you would really be able to communicate with people. But you through social media, you'll find that there's people a lot like you in certain ways, and which is one of the powers of this community that we're doing right here, is that you aren't alone in your grief and your loss. And so I like that, because growing up, I did feel, me personally, like people didn't get me. I was just different in a way, as um, I had conversations with mom in that way, because I saw things differently, and but now I understand why, but it's just different. I didn't do things like everyone else did, as you know. There's
Yeah.
certain things in that way, but other things I was very common with. But then the way I looked at things were just different, and still are to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something, we say, but I always feel like you definitely say, Taj, is how grief is very isolating, and you feel alone. When you're, or like you just said, Taj, you feel like you're the only one that's going through this, and all eyes are on you, and you are the odd one. But there are people, and that's one thing that I have to give it a plug, is our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group and a community
Amazing.
right here that's live with us, that is being built to supply that kind of community. So not only to support one another, but to let others know that you aren't alone when you are dealing with certain types of issues and losses. Even if it's not our Facebook group or not our community, there are communities out there for whatever it is you may be going through. And I think it's very important to find it. And sometimes if you can do these affirmations, I think it can help lead you to those places. If it can help put it in motion. So I am always healing and never alone, to me, is a very, very important one.
Yeah.
Number 4, this is 4 out of 5, Taj. We have grief is a call for me to wake up and live and love even more. Grief can be a guide too. Because of what I'm going through, I choose to highlight the beauty that life still has to give. I choose to follow the path that makes me feel alive and part of the miracle of existing. How I live now is how I choose to give something better to the world. I ask myself, how can I love well today, and take each day as just one day?
Okay.
Thoughts?
I like that a lot. It's a little long, but I like
Yeah.
for an affirmation. That was the only thing I was thinking. As I was like, would I remember all that to say? I'd have to write it down. But I do like that. I like the message of it. But yeah, I mean, look, we could be our worst enemies. I've been there plenty of times. I grew up in my teenage years being super hard on myself and really destructive to myself in that way, in terms of my mentality. I grew a lot from them, but then when mom passed, the kind of all those insecurities came back. So it's not something that you just get over in that way. But each, from the 4 affirmations that we've gone through so far, for me, it's just been a journey. It's just been working on myself, and each day I get better and better in that way. But I think that's why I caution with, you could be your worst enemy, because self-doubt is common. It's not something, don't let that control you, because that's insecurity. That's your insecurities. And I've had those in that way, but that doesn't define you. And so you just have to, once you recognize what's happening, and that's where I'm at now, where I can say, okay, that's Mr. Self-doubt, playing its role on me again. And I'm not going to give it permission this time to infiltrate my mind or whatever in that way. I've been a lot happier in that way, because now I can start seeing which characters come in and kind of like do their little mess on me and stuff like that. So I've identified it now. And so now I can combat it more, but it took a long time to do that. So it's not an overnight thing either.
Yeah. Yeah. Lena says life is so short. Sometimes we spend too much time down the dark hole rather than living each day like it's our last. And I agree, Lena, especially in today's time, there's so much negativity all around us. And it's like, it feels like it's on you because of the way social media is, and the news, and just all the issues that we're going through. It seems like we're just surrounded in this cloud of negativity, and it can bring you to a very dark, negative place.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to try our absolute hardest to make sure we are, I guess, not only aware, but respecting the fact that we have a beautiful life to live, that we have to find a way to negate or shut off those negative sources to help us heal and become the best us we can. Because truthfully, each and every one of us are so blessed. Whether you're listening to us on a replay or watching this years later, you are having the ability to do so. There are people in this world that can't because they don't have internet, or they don't have the means, or they're literally just trying to find their next meal, or they don't have the eyesight, or don't have the hearing, or the limbs, or any of that stuff. So we have to keep things in perspective and understand that there's going to be very difficult and dark times in our lives. And it's okay to be sorry and sad and feel down about it, but we have to find ways to pick ourselves up. And again, society's not doing us any favors. So sometimes we need to shut that out of our lives so that we can let our own human beings, our self-start us to be more positive people. So, and it's tough. And that's another thing, because I'm looking through some of the comments, and everyone's going through a tough time, and I'm going through difficult moments that I couldn't have predicted. I'm sure Taj is, and all of us are. We just have to find a way to fight through it. And again, one thing that's helped me is I stopped watching news. I stopped watching the depressing things, and starting to read more. I'm surrounding myself with better energy. I'm eating healthier. I'm moving more, and it's all really been super helpful for me. And again, for those who may not, or I should say this, those who are maybe going through a very difficult moment of saying goodbye to a loved one, we have to also be able to utilize that as a spur to really understand that life is short, and life can be taken from us just like that. So use this opportunity, I hate saying that word, but use this moment to really refocus and live your life to the fullest. So important. And it's something that we fall victim to a lot, is we don't. And we have to do us and live our lives and make our loved ones who may pass or may pass in the immediate future. We have to make them happy and proud, and make them feel that we are going to grow and become better people. And it takes us to do that.
Yep.
And it's not easy saying that, because I don't want to ever come across as insensitive, but it's just a true, honest reminder that we have to make sure we're protecting our mind. And again, I believe in letting yourself be sorry and sad and in grief. I am never going to be that person that says you have to get over it. But there is a time, I should say, you don't have to get over it on this timetable. But there is a time where we have to be able to find ourselves again and live the best life possible.
Yeah.
Number 5. This is the 5th grief affirmation. Again, we are discussing 5 grief affirmations. In case you are just joining us, number 5 is my life is a celebration of their life. Now, I love this one.
This one should have been number 1 for me. Like, this is the one I would use.
This is a beautiful.
This is one I have used.
Yeah.
This is my secret in grief. Well, it's not secret, but yeah. Oh.
The love we shared is still the love we share. This love is the foundation of all life, and it has no end. I observe their loving essence and let them breathe through me, walk through me, speak through me, and be with me. They're always a presence in my heart, a bright spot in my mind, a guide in everyday life. With each step, I honor them. I'm happy this is the last one, because to me, this is the biggest one.
This is one, yeah. For me.
This is the one that I can, and I believe Taj can say this. This is the one that I've lived by, and I've and I remember Uncle Michael's telling us this, is to use this and make her proud, make mom proud. And it's something that really is stuck with us. And, this the foundation is one piece, but there's other things that we do that we try to make sure we are honoring and respecting our mother and representing our mother the best we possibly can. And I just think it's important to make sure you guys are doing that, especially if you're losing, again, a loved one. Honor that person, make that person proud. That's the best advice I think my uncle ever gave me, especially when it comes to the loss of my mother, was to represent them and make them proud. Yeah. It goes a long way.
Yeah. I do like the word celebration of their life, because I think you do. Anyone, whether it's a friend or someone or a relative that you've lost, or you're going through something where you are going to lose them eventually, it is a celebrate. You are an example of them in that way. You carry them with you in that way. And so there's been friends of mine that I've lost that I know, and it's not, and I have to figure out how to say this. I feel like I'm so happy to keep their memory alive and tell stories about them and make sure that they aren't forgotten in any way, shape, or form. So anytime I get to talk about them, or anyway, I get to say how special they were to me, or how much I cared or loved them, I do in that way, because the memories of people is what keeps them alive as well.
Yeah. Miss Silent Siren says, I feel like the ones left behind are a reflection on the loved ones they lost. Taj has said what I was typing.
It's so true. And for all the losses that we've faced, I still feel that way.
And then here is another great comment from Kim Vaccarino. Kim says, my mom has told me that when her time is up, don't have a funeral. She told me to have a celebration of her life, dinner with all her friends and family. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, Taj. So we went through 5 grief affirmations. Again, this is from a Healing Brave article, Grief Affirmations, 5 Messages to Help You Heal, Not Just Survive, by Jennifer Williamson. You can find the article at www.healingbrave.com. We will put a link to it in the description box as well. Yes, I did say that right. But with that said, I want to make sure we inform everyone of additional resources. So we're going to, over the next couple minutes, we want to talk about other things that you can implement into your daily life that could be helpful on your grief journey. Here are some additional resources. I'm going to try to outline these and get them on the big screen so you guys can see them. And the very first one we will do is the Grief Affirmation Deck, which was created and sold by Lindsay Joy Taylor of the Joyful Jewelry Box. You guys may remember Lindsay. She was a guest before we did it on this format. When we were on the radio show, she's created and sold many of these affirmation decks, and they're great. It's just a constant way for you guys to always have these cards and ideas and affirmations right there for you. So strongly recommend, if you are going through things and you need more a positive outlet, if you feel like you're stuck in this grief, to check out Lindsay's Grief Affirmation Deck. You can get it at our shop. It's called the Joyful Jewelry Box. It's an Etsy shop. So there you go. You can use the cards daily as part of your morning routine to help you get through tough milestone days, or to recenter and ground yourself whenever you're feeling lonely, triggered, or overwhelmed by waves of grief. Use the deck to create a powerful ritual where you can both honor your pain and fight for joy at the same time. Love that, because that's exactly what it is. Honoring and respecting the pain that you're going through, but not letting yourself wallow and drown in it. Super, super important. Second item let me see if I'm getting this right. Okay, there's 2 books you may consider looking into. A book entitled Grief, Day by Day, Simple Practices and Daily Guidance for Living with Loss. It's written by Jan Warner. Available on Amazon, Target, and Audible, which is Taj's favorite thing to do.
Yep.
And there's another book called Grief One Day at a Time, 365 Meditations to Help You Heal After Lies, written by Alan D. Wolfett, PhD, available again on Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart. So all of these resources will be linked in the show notes. I've been saying the description box, but the show notes is a better way to say it. But again, you guys, if you are going through a difficult moment in your life and you feel like you're not able to get through it alone, or even with just this show, really consider using these resources. That's what they're there for. And one of these can really help you, and it can change the trajectory of your life. You don't want to again, this is, I always get worried in saying this. We always want to respect how we're feeling, but at the same time, we don't want to spend the rest of our lives shackled by grief. We want to be able to get through it and remember, start living in a life in a positive, happy way, and remembering our loved ones with love. Oh, I feel like I've been talking quite a bit, Taj, but anything else you want to say before we end this show?
No, it's just, I always sympathize with people going through loss and grief, because I do know how that feels. I don't know how your particular position feels, because I'm not there, but I do know for myself how that felt and still feels. And so I am very empathetic about that scenario. And just, you will be tested. That's one of the things I will always say. It's not something that just goes away. You will constantly be tested, and just know that you're going to be tested. And that's why I said, when it comes to faith, it's like faith in yourself, faith that you'll get better, faith that this is not permanent, that this is not something that defines you. That's the most important thing in that way. And so I have little tricks, as I've said in the show plenty of times, but it took decades to get those tricks to know that they work, but I had faith that they would work. And so and now I know it works faster for me, or easier for me, in terms of when it comes to something sad about Mom or Uncle Michael or Clyde or Henry or Dave, or, there's so many people that we've lost that have been close to us in that way that I cherish. But keeping their memory alive is always at the top of my list, in terms that number 5 of, I am a walking part of them in that way.
Well said, Taj. Before we close, we just talked about resources. Jennifer made a great comment that we want to share. She said, make the D.D. Jackson Foundation your nonprofit to donate to on Amazon and buy your books through there, which will help the foundation to continue to produce these grief podcasts. Jennifer, thank you so much for this comment, because this is something, it's a simple way for anyone who wants to support the foundation can do it without technically having to come out of pocket or anything.
Not even knowing you're doing it. Yeah.
We have something called, it's called Amazon Smile. It's a program Amazon does where as a nonprofit with a 501c3, there's, paperwork you have to go through to get this designation. But once you get the designation, you can apply for the Amazon Smile program. And what that is, it's basically the Amazon site. But if you first click this specific link, it will donate some of the proceeds from what they earn from whatever you buy, and will donate it to the foundation. Again, there's no extra expense on your side, and Amazon just takes some of their profits and donates it to the foundation pretty much on your behalf. So we will also put that in the show notes. Yeah. So and it doesn't just have to be these books. If there's a vacuum cleaner, a table,
I buy all my stuff. All my Amazon stuff through. Yeah.
I don't think you can buy a car on Amazon, but CDs, whatever it is you are buying, if you click this link first and then do your shopping, the foundation will get some of the proceeds, and it really does help, and it's actually adds up. So thank you guys so much. And then Taj, there's one more thing we have to do, and that is a super chat. I just saw it come in. It's from Sophia. She says, be the things you love most about the people who are gone. Sophia, I want to thank you not only for the super chat, but thank you for the beautiful message. I think this is right on. It's a perfect way to summarize and end the show. Be the things you love most about the people who are gone. It's something that we've tried to do, my brothers and I, through the foundation. Our mother was all about giving back to the community, and that's what we're trying to do with this foundation and the Power of Love show. And of course, I have to give a shout out to our entire board, who we do our live meetings once a month, and they're just amazing. So again, I want to just make sure I'm mentioning that it's not just Taj and I doing everything. We have an amazing team behind us who help us and again have big love and hearts and want to do stuff for people. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining us. We'll be here next Wednesday at 1 p.m. with another show. Until then, you guys, please be safe and remember to live with love. All right, you guys, adios.